I feel stupid as I wasn't hearing us in the headphones. I should have said something.
Yeah. Hey, we both fucked up. It happens.
Fuck me.
Welcome to Rolling Recklessly, the Warhammer podcast where dice decide legends, paint never dries, and every roll tells a story. I'm Grizzly, and whether you're here for the lore, hobby, or the chaos of the tabletops, you're in the right place. So grab your dice, ready your general, wake your champions, and let's get reckless.
The road was open, the crusade began, and hope marched out beyond the walls. But in the mortal realms, the moment you start building something worth protecting, the darkness starts to paying attention. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Rolling Recklessly. I'm your host, Grizzly, and tonight we return to the canon for Dawnbringers Part 2. Last time we talked about the beginnings of the Dawnbringers Crusades, and what they are, and why they mattered, and why this moment in Age of Sigmar feels so important. Because this isn't just a story about armies marching. It's a story about mortals trying to carve civilization out of a place that does not want them to survive. It's about building under pressure, and it's about faith under fire, and it's about what happens when hope leaves the safety of the city walls and has to prove that it can survive on the road. But tonight, we're going deep, because once the crusade begins, the story gets stranger and more dangerous. And that's where we start to looking at people shaping the march. The leaders, the prophets, the pressure holding it all together, and the growing sense of the Dawnbringers are carrying more than steel and supplies with them. They're carrying the future of order and all the fear and belief, sacrifice, and desperation that comes with it. And of course, I've got Jesse here with me again tonight. So we're going to do what we do best. Talk lore, talk hobby, and talk real table energy. And break this thing down while we're sitting here at the war table. Jesse, welcome back.
Always good to be back on the podcast. Always good to be talking about Dawnbringers. We're getting pretty current in the lore, and it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, no, we're almost caught up now. It's pretty exciting that, we're going to get to the new stuff, hopefully soon, and then, because I think this is really as new as it gets. I seen, like the Talia book I think I told you I picked up when I was reading, and that's, as new as it's getting.
Yeah, and, after playing Talia in the tournament, I'm excited to hear more on the subject and more on her lore. Dawnbringers, it's a good time to, with the changing of the edition, to kind of, put that at the center point and focus and start expanding that lore and seeing what's coming next, because I kind of feel like we're kind of twiddling our thumbs wondering what's the next plot point.
I agree. I 100% agree, but it's kind of weird because last time, so right now they're the mortals are trying to go through and they're trying to survive. Last time, in the last game that they made, they blew up the world.
Yeah.
So it's just I guess the mortals don't always survive. You know what I mean? So it's crazy to see. I wonder what they're doing now, because this feels super long and drawn out, kind of.
Yeah, with my new battle tome coming out for the OBR, and in the first few pages you get to that map that always opens up, pop out book style.
Yeah. And
it shows you the realm and the domain of this army's presence within that realm, and
Shaish, right?
Yeah,
nice.
And it shows how vast the realms are and how expansive they are, and again, just these regular men have to go out there and try to put a foothold and establish settlements and society out there.
Yeah, well, they're trying to get through Waaagh and Ghyran, right?
Mm-hmm.
So while they're trying to get through both Waaagh and Ghyran, it's just Ghyran is or Waaagh is always on fire.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You're battling fire. That's your enemy, which is sucks. And then there's a bunch of titans or whatever lives through that and lives in there. I'm sure is not welcoming.
Right. Yeah. Feral beasts, all kinds of ravenous creatures.
Yeah. And then your other place you have is Ghyran, or is it? It's Ghur.
Ghur.
Yeah, and Ghur is just. It's rough, that's everything is trying to kill you, basically.
Yeah. Everything has claws and fangs, the realm of beasts.
So it's just trying to just survive there. I feel like it's easier to survive there, I guess, if those are my choices.
I like how, lately we've been dealing with our own struggle in the hobby, after post-tournament, trying to find our new lists. I like covering the subject of Dawnbringers, because it's this story of struggle, and you as me know, like this hobby is a struggle, bro.
It relates.
This hobby is a struggle.
So it's just like like the Crusade there. Like we went in, bro, and we like, yeah, we got this, and then we got crushed.
Got crushed, bro.
And it's like a great reflection and like comparison. You're like, oh, the Dawnbringers, like they sent the Crusade out, like, oh, they got crushed.
I mean, I like the guy who had the triple cannon list. I think his list was called "All Dawn Your Bringer." I was like, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, he will. He's good. So, actually, before we get into the Dawnbringers like lore and stuff, let's do a little war table check-in. We're going to talk about what we've been hobbying on lately, what we've been playing, and what's been happening at J&J, and what's been on our minds this week before we march into the lore. So, if you're ready, let's gather around the war table. All right.
Let's jump in.
Before we march back into the mortal realms and continue the Dawnbringer story, let's gather around the war table because Tuesday's nights at J&J has been one of those nights that just reminds me of why this hobby's so good. We showed up like we always do, and suddenly we had 3 1,000-point games going at the same time. For me, that was pretty exciting. And if you've been around our scene for a while, you know it's awesome, and seeing multiple tables running, dice flying everywhere, and people learning, people experimenting with new lists. And it was just a good hobby energy. It's one of those things that I loved about it particularly is that none of us were playing our main armies. Everybody was experimenting just a little bit, and which honestly made the games even more fun. For me, I had a great time. What about you, Jesse? What was your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a great night. You know, our community over here in our small little corner of West Glendale is small.
It is teeny tiny, so it was cool.
But we're growing, and and there's an excitement and enthusiasm for the hobby that I feel like our shop has that just charming. You know what I mean? Like, it just makes us endearing. And I look over there and I see Ian like playing his corn army or Eric playing his FAC, and I just think like, man, these guys are coming along, man. They came from Spearhead, now they're at 1,000 points.
Exactly.
We're only a few more weeks, a few more paychecks away from being at 2,000 points.
Well, because I know, I think they're both right there. I think it's more them learning. Do you think Ian needs to get his 2,000 right? I think he's got a few more to get.
Yeah, I ran into him today when we were at Gamers Guild North Phoenix. Shout outs to Gamers Guild North Phoenix. And there was a merchant there who was really cool. His name was Christian. I wish I could remember the name of his company right now, but him and his girlfriend Allie was there, and they had so much Sigmar product, they had so much 40K product, they had so much 3D printed product. It was a great time. But I ran into Ian there, and he was showing me like, hey, I needed a few more things. Granted, one of them was a bloodthirster. I was gonna set you back, but he was like, yeah, I just need these few things, and then boom, I've got 2,000 points, and I'm like, man, you had a spearhead a few months ago.
Yeah, no, it's awesome to see him grow. I really enjoy, I'm happy that, especially you said if he's gonna get that bloodthirsty, it's gonna be nice to have that introduced to our scene.
Yes.
It's been really exciting, like you said, that our scene is really small, so we only get such a little handpick of people, then such a little bit of factions where we're just kind of playing with each other for the most part.
For sure.
You know what I mean? We got Zach, we got Allie jumping in, Casey will jump in every once in a while. We've had a couple of people jump in with us, which has been great. We've been dabbling a little bit now at Gamers Guild with those guys, the House of Hobbies guys. Yeah,
House of Hobbies guys, they're always very welcoming. They've always got so much great insight on the game, and they've got a pretty nice little community. So it's nice to branch out and just kind of get out there and see what else. It's a big valley, bro, and I just feel like, again, our hobby is just growing at an exponential rate, and it's just there's a representation for Sigmar that I am just personally invested in, because as somebody who just started in this edition too, I feel like I'm part of that growth.
Yeah, no, it is. It's definitely exciting to see, especially I feel like you jumped in at the perfect time, You jumped in and it was right when Scaventide happened, right? Right when Scaventide happened. Maybe a little after, and it's just grown, and you've accrued all of this, this whole, 3 armies, 4 armies now. It's just 2,000 points of each, which it's been really cool to see our hobby really grow like that.
Yeah, it's awesome to be not only have multiple armies, but to have them built and have lists ready and be able to even play test them on these little 1,000 point games. There's value, bro. Knowing what your units do and when they can do it. It doesn't matter if you're playing at 500 points or 5,000 points. There's value in learning just the game system.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great transition to our games that we had this week. It was nice because, like you said, we weren't running, you weren't running your Stormcast. I wasn't running my Sylvaneth.
Mm-hmm.
I was running my Gits, and I played against Eric and his Feck. It is a list that Eric, he does run, so I have a pretty good idea. I think he changed up a little bit, and I ran a bunch of cavalry, but for the most part, I ran 2 reinforced units, Boingart Bounders. I ran a Mangler Squig with the Loon Boss, a reinforced Squig Herd, and then a Squigbok with National Pig. And it was sick.
That's a lot.
You played the Gits. The Gits for me is a blast to play. I love playing with them. Eric, he ran his Abhorrent Archregent. He had a reinforced Crypt Horse, a Crypt Courtier, and a reinforced Crypt Guard. So it was a really good matchup on paper, especially because he has the guys that gets I think something. Don't know if you charge them in their cavalry, they get that 3.
Right.
It's a 3 up order or something.
They're anti-cavalry.
Yeah, and I run a lot of cavalry. I want to say almost all my arm, the Boingrat's Bounders are cavalry. But it was a crazy game, bro. So I love these games. It made me fall in love with Squigs. I think I got to get more because I have those 1,000 points. I think I'm just gonna run 2 of them at 2,000.
Wow.
But it's been a blast to play. First match, we run in. So we played so quickly, which was awesome. The game was so decided by the end of turn 1. We played again. So I played my Bounders. I basically just ran everything up. I made the moon so with the Gits in their moon phase, each phase gets a keyword associated buff with it.
Okay.
So the first one I did was Squigs. My whole army is Squigs. Everybody, instead of their movement, which is it's usually a 6 plus a d6 or 8 plus a d8, something like that. So they're pretty quick, and you can just make it 4. So it's on average I'm moving 10 to 12 with everybody. I just ran, and then I ran everybody up.
Any bonuses to charge?
No bonuses to charge. No.
Okay, so just raw charge.
But it's just running. But I ran my Mangler Squig up I don't know, it was 12. So I moved him up right. And I charged him. He's the only one I charged. Everybody else I ran, so I couldn't charge with anybody else. I just charged with the Mangler Squig. 12-inch charge.
12-inch.
Yeet across the board. Everything else is in reserve. He just has the Crypt Guard on the board.
Oh my goodness.
And I go in and I hit them because they do it. He does a charge buff, a charge when he does charge on the charge turn. I roll a d6 and it's on a 3 up. I deal whatever's on the dice. So it's a 5 mortal wounds right there. Blow up 5 of his things. So he finished. I think he finished them that turn. I smashed him with everything else. I want to say I killed the whole unit. Took his I had scouting force. I got scouting force.
Nice.
That's why I ran everything. I was fuck it, it's better to just run back and.
Well, everything's moving 12. You better get scouting force. I'll come over there and smack you.
I moved them all, and so I was this is a good tactic for me.
Yeah, that's for those Squigs. That's a gimme.
Yeah, because there's just so many.
Yeah,
and it's hard to stop them all.
Do you run a Tuned Ghyran too?
I do not run a Tuned Ghyran. I don't get free so once I run the wolves, I'll get the free recharges. But with the Squigs, I do not.
Okay, so once you have if you run the wolves list, because you might double up on the Squigs.
I think I'm just gonna double up with the Squigs. It's just been so fun and so simple to play. My games happen so quick.
Or dice roll.
I can see why Jed was playing Khorne. I can see why now. You're just gonna run through, bro. It's easy. I'm gonna run a bunch of dice. Speaking of which, I ordered a ton of dice. You saw the dice I posted.
Yeah, that was sick.
I got the Zines dice. I got I'm trying to get all the 4th edition dice now. I have most of them. I got the faction order dice. There's from 3rd edition. I think they're from. It's they did faction dice, and these are the order ones I just got.
Yeah, when you showed me the OBR ones, you almost turned me to the guy in the Dark Knight where he was give it to me. You can tell them I took it from you. But give it to me.
The OBR one is the sickest of all of them.
Yeah.
That one I was I wasn't gonna get it. There's another 2 there if you want them.
Ooh.
I seen them and I was like,
what's how many clams we talking for these dice?
it's Warhammer dice. You know the price I paid.
Yeah.
We get the best in the valley.
They're pretty petty.
It's cheaper than anywhere else I found. You know what I mean?
You know what? After my Spearhead game last night with Allie and rolling double 6s and then triple 6s, I think I'm sticking with my old world dice.
Your old world dice are
old
really
world
good.
dice are loaded, bro.
I feel I was dude, we got to do. I think they call it the saltwater test.
Yeah.
These float 6s.
Let me talk. That's a good transition into my game. So I was playing my girlfriend Allie, who has been running Skaven, and she had Screech, Vermin Lord, with a Master Molder, Storm Fiends, and 2 units of Clan Rats. And I was running my Khorne list, which was a Bloodstoker, full pack of Reinforced Warriors, full pack of Reinforced Reavers, and then 2 5-man packs of Skull Takers.
What were your tactics?
So, you know me, Wrathful Cycles, Restless Energy.
That's it. You're just going to stick with the same tactics, bro? Pick something else. You can play scouting for sure. With Khorne.
I could, but
it's so easy with that army.
I'm gonna be like, when people talk about this season, they're gonna be like, Jesse really knew how to get those tactics, man. Those 2. I didn't know much about scoring the other ones.
When you can get all 3, I'll believe you.
It's tough.
Yeah, you always get the 2. You've been able to smash the first 2, from the first game. You're like, oh, I could do this.
Hey, everyone has the 3 as a win more. I'm just gonna try to deny you.
You just changed how I played too. Like when you're like, you have to steal a tactic. I was like, good. I'm only gonna hold 1. You're like, you're not gonna cover that. I'm like, no, you can have that one. You're like, God, I hate you.
Yeah.
That's the only thing stopping you from getting 20.
You deploying everything in a corner just irritates the hell out of me.
But so you played the Khorne. How did that go? Who did you play against one more time?
So it was Allie, and she was she was
Rats.
Lord Screech, and so Screech, she runs this. Their battle trait is if you would do damage to a Vermin Lord, then it rolls a 4-up ward, and on the 4-up it just takes the damage to the Clan Rats nearby, or even the Storm Fiends. Anything that's infantry can take the damage for Screech.
Yeah, you're just passing that. You're like shinking that.
Yep, and the Clan Rats recur D3 at the end of every turn, and Screech has a spell called the Dreaded 13 Spell, which on 2d6, a 6-up, no, I believe it's a 7-up, you'll roll 13 dice, every 5-up is immortal, and it returns one of those Clan Rats.
Does he have +1 to casting?
No. There's ways to get +1 to casting. I believe through the manifestation. That's like a little bell. But I'm not entirely sure. However, the casting was going off pretty reliably. Skitter Leap was one thing that I remember going off a lot.
Movement is huge.
Yeah, huge. The army can move in your hero phase. At the end of your hero phase, like it just moves, like something just moves. So that fucked me up a lot. And then the rats just recur, so every turn the rats like put a hole on the field, and then at the end of their turn they can spend a CP and just return 10 clan rats to the hole.
Jeez. Yeah. Really?
And it's like you can charge and blow up the hole, but like at the start of their turn the hole just pops up. If it says if there's not 3 on the field, then 1 just pops up.
That's what Nurgle does. They always have 1 tree on the field no matter what. If
you
blow up the tree, they're like, cool, you just get to spawn a new one.
So I felt like, with a big old brick of Khorne Blood Warriors and a big old brick of Reavers and a couple Skull Takers that I was going to, like, be able to get rid of these rats pretty quickly, but they just kept coming back, bro.
Yeah? How did the game go? Like, how did you look turn 2?
We looked good. Turn 2, at the end of it, I was leading like 30-25, but turn 3 is kind of like where everything kind of went bad, because that's when I got the double turn.
Oh, yeah, Khorne, you do not want to get double turned.
And I pretty much
Especially that's how you get by against Skaven, right? For you, that's the only way you're getting them.
Allie's turn 3 was basically just like recurring the rats into a corner, taking that point, and then skitter leaping with 2 at the other point, and just like taking 8, and then we were going into round 4, and she was like really feeling the presence of Khorne. I won the priority roll.
What battle plan were you playing?
That one was the Surge for Slaughter one. So you pick a pair of objectives and you get a +1. So I was getting +1 rend, but it's rats, man. They hit on 5s. I was able to pop those Storm Fiends very early. I told her, I can tell she didn't really understand how to use them and still doesn't.
Yeah.
Storm Fiends can be a very like strong unit, but like it's got a 4-up save and no ward. So it's something that'll go down easy, especially if I'm swinging 60 attacks for the Blood Warriors at it.
Definitely. For like 50% stats wise, but it just doesn't ever feel like that. And then if you have no ward, it just feels so squishy. 4s, 5s, like I know 4 is supposed to be even a little bit tougher than a t-shirt save. It's like you have light armor.
Yeah.
It's like it's rough.
So I feel like with the rats, you really got to win with your movement not really like your raw power.
Yeah.
There's some power on deck, like Screech hit pretty hard whenever he hit, and then he would skitter leap away, you know what I mean? And that was pretty freaking annoying to deal with. But, you know, I just felt like I had more attacks on deck. And we were talking earlier in the podcast about it. It was just like more volume. You're like, the Gits give you volume. The Blood Warriors, a pack of Blood Warriors is huge. It's so many attacks, dude. And they're 4s into 3s. So you get all 3s into 3s and all out attack. And there's 1 rend on it. So it's you know, it adds up quick. I felt like the Warriors were doing a lot. And I was like, I'm glad they're here. I'm glad they're in the army.
Yeah. I felt so, like, the Warriors, I think, are really good. I know they're kind of expensive for you guys, but 3-up save with such a large mass is so awesome. You know what I mean?
I was worried that splitting up my Skull Takers was a bad idea and not having a big brick of them. But if you look at their abilities, they have the ability of, if they're in combat, they get +8 to their control score.
That's even better than actually, yeah.
So I wrestled...
Each unit is 13 then?
Yeah, so it would be with
a full unit?
Yeah, a full unit is 5 models.
Do they have a banner bearer or anything?
They do have a banner bearer.
So would that be 14 then?
Be 14 control when they're on deck, and that's exactly what I had.
Banner bearer?
I had 14 control, and Allie only had 7. I was able to wrestle, and she had her Vermin Lord and a Storm Fiend on there, but I was like, yeah, these guys are in combat if you don't swing and kill them, and she wasn't able to swing and kill them. They have 3 health each.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They save on a 4. It's not great. Yeah. No ward.
Well, say you could see, like, we jumped in that part of, like, the, like, we're still kind of new into the meta, and we're, like, getting used to and introduced to our new meta, you know?
Yeah.
And we like to reinforce our stuff, but we're starting to see, like, MSU is probably the best for this edition, especially with, like, when you look at all the battle plans, you'll see, like, there's, like, a couple that are, like, 6, you know what I mean? When you have to go really wide like that, or, like, some don't really matter, so you have to get across the board really quickly, you know? Or your opponent can just turn this objective off. You know, huge.
Yeah, huge.
I think it's just like it makes it really hard. So I think that when you have more units, you can kind of spread around. You know what I mean? I guess it's a little more forgiving. They die easier, but you have another one. You know, and if you have like a recursion type army, that's great.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know,
we're
a big fan of reinforced units. We want a big brick. We want as much attacks on deck as possible. But you have to just have the mindset that you still have those attacks on deck. They're just on another unit. And, you know, and it's...
In fact, you get to take advantage of your champion, like, earlier. You know what I mean? Because when you reinforce them, you only get to use the one champion until the other one dies.
Yes, for sure. You know, something that it's kind of hard to grasp when you first start playing is, like, how to set up, like, counter-offensively. You know what I mean? Everyone knows how to set up offensively. Like, oh, I'm going to charge right at this and pop it. But, you know, when you're staring down at the other side of the table and you know everything's coming... just having those right screens in place, having your right deployments in place, you know, ask your opponent, what are your ranges? You know what I mean?
Yeah, your deployment's huge.
Most opponents that are cool, they'll tell you their range because they know they want you to tell you your range, and you want to be honest. And there's so many times where you can place yourself so like in inopportune ways where you fuck yourself in deployment, bro.
You know what? That's actually a great transition into Zach's and Ian's game. Did you watch any of that?
Kind of from afar, but
I was sitting right next to him, and you could kind of see what happened.
He was getting pinned in his back line.
Yeah, well, he put his like big units in the front, and Zach just ran his stuff in, and then it seems like... So Ian has this cool model that can teleport to a unit, like into combat or something.
Yeah, the Skull Taker.
Yeah, so he ran that into Neferata. And I don't think that was a good match.
Maybe not the smartest, yeah.
But Zach went in, and he even said, like, his deployment really, like... It made it rough for him. You know what I mean? Because Zach ran in, got his big units right away. Like,
tied him up in combat, popped him, got him down to half strength.
Yeah, that's one thing we got to teach Ian is how to use a screen.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, these guys are here like to block you to prevent this from happening.
For sure, yeah.
I bet you he's used to going first. And it's one of those, like, deployment like that is huge. Like, I bet you going first. That's awesome.
And on a 1K map, it's a smaller area. You have even less, like, distance to cross to make that initial charge.
Yeah.
You need to have that unit that you know, the idea when you first deploy is like, I'm going to keep all this stuff alive. And in a perfect world, that happens. But honestly, in Warhammer, something's popping.
The way I'm looking at it is look at how sick these guys are. I'm going to put this brick together and it's going to wreck somebody. For everything that I think I'm doing that with, everyone else is doing that same thing.
Yeah,
they're different faction, like Pacific bonus. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when you were in the tournament and playing that Slanesh list, and he had that block of archers, I was like, "What is he supposed to do against that?"
Yeah, speaking of which, I'm excited you got your new archers, yeah?
Yeah, OBR got the Mortec Triaxes.
That's sick. And you got 2 of them, 2 reinforced. That's wild that the boxes come with...
Yeah, the box, we're talking about reinforced.
That's insane, it does that.
Yeah, Friday I was over at Gamer Guild North. Shout out again to them. The House of Hobbies guys do a hangout there, Age of Sigmar. So I was up there and... yeah, somebody was playing OBR and they had the new Triaxes, bro. They had the new Liege Mortec. They had the Cohetic Cohort or whatever. Man, I forget
it's
the
like
name.
their new regiment round.
It's that one. It's that one from the new Spearhead.
Okay, yeah.
With the Centaur guy and he's got his own little bone crew.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then he had the manifestations and
is that the chariot one? Because didn't they get a chariot?
They have a Mortec who is in a chariot too, but no, this one's just like a regular little foot hero. But he gives like either a Mortec crawler, the Triaxes, and one other unit. I forget what the other one unit is. The ability to just shoot immediately, and
what phase?
I believe it's in the combat phase. So
they just get to shoot again.
Yeah, like, hey, fire again.
Yeah.
So he said those archers were doing work, and that is a hammer now.
You're just over there like Thor, like smashing that shit. Like another.
Yeah, and then he happened to be playing Soulblight, so those Braziers turn off healing. The manifestation turns off ward.
So he just went there and
everything that gives you survivability in Soulblight, he was turning off. Now, this being said, he was playing a very smart player who I played at the tournament, who beat me at the tournament, and they were playing their Soulblight really well. They were able to just outscore him, and just have nothing on the table, but still win the game
and just move around.
Yeah, so Soulblight, in the hands of an adept player, Soulblight is one of the scariest armies. So it's no wonder that Zach was able to just best Ian's Khorne and his list is still kind of unrefined, and he's deciding what's going here and what's going what and doing what he wants each unit to be doing in the battlefield.
Yeah.
When he put the Blood Reavers behind everything, I knew that I was like, okay, this guy's just kind of experimenting deployment. You have to know that something's going to die. And in Khorne, you want something to die, right? You want that blood tithe point. You want to be able to give somebody that wild-eyed madness or whatever whenever you spend a blood tithe point. There's just so much stuff about... I mean, when I was playing Allie, nothing in my army died on my turn or her turn in the first turn. So in the second turn, I'm like, on my hero phase, I will...
Pass.
I'll pass. I was like, I needed some blood and no blood.
Yeah, so when I played against Jed at the end, so he had so much stuff died, right? And then, right away, he's playing against my monsters, and I just...
Yeah, that horde of Reavers. Yeah.
And as things were dying, even his, his Reavers were, +1 to hit, +1 to wound, +1 to rent, you know what I mean? Just a bunch of buffs.
Eesh.
And it's even your weakest guy now is really strong with all the buffs.
Eesh. Yeah, I mean, I saw that he had the Realmgore Ritualist on the Skull Altar, so I'm like, oh yeah, there's some kind of buff, there's some kind of invoker going on right now. So I was like, yeah, it looked looked over at that table, bro. You looked like you had so little.
yeah.
I was like, does he have too much or do you have too little?
Yeah, I gotta look at his so I have a picture. You can see it. It just there's my castle. My castle's, I think it's cool. I thought it was sick. All my tree lords, everybody standing together. And then it's just a sea of red. And you're man, just so much.
So I think that Ian is safe in the hands of Khorne.
I think so. I think once he gets a little more experience, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think he played mostly 40K before this.
Yeah.
So I think, him just jumping in with us is his learning experience really.
Yeah.
I think it's just, you see how we play, so.
He's got a lot of power. He needs a little bit more of the technical side of the game.
Yeah, agreed.
Whereas, I feel like Eric has a lot of the technical down, but he needs more power.
Yeah, we were talking, remember, at the end of the night. I think you had left by then, but me and Zach were talking to him about, dude, just make an Ushran list. Just put an Ushran. We'll do 1K with Ushran. He's like, well, then I don't feel like I have enough. I was like, just do the Ushran. Just, you know what I mean? Just feel like...
The Ush and Crypt Guard, bro. You're good.
You ran this list, you know what I mean? Let's see, you know what I mean? You don't have any wins with it. Let's see something else, And he's ran that list consistently.
And I get the whole angle of the list is I'm going to hide everything away and then spring it up on you. The peekaboo play style.
Yeah.
But you can't peekaboo if you don't have something scary. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think it's supposed to be like a horde army. At 1K for him, it's just hard for him to hoard out. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I think, especially the way we play, we like big hammers. You know what I mean? We're just like you said, slingshot hammers at each other because it's less like, oh, we're only 1,000 or we're only like half the pace away at 1,000 points. You know?
Yeah, I think back at that Seraphon game you and I had where we had like the Croxagore, the Raptidons, the Blood Reavers, the Blood Warriors. Everybody was just in a mosh pit.
Yeah, right away. Turn one, like we're just fighting right away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think, especially for that list, it's just real hard. That's why I think if he just goes Ghyran, because I feel confident charging most of the stuff in his army. Ghyran, I'm a little less confident about running just my big guys into. Like, maybe we'll see how that goes.
Ush can give you strike last.
That's
right?
exactly my point, yeah. So he can give you strike last and say, like, you run a couple things into, like, keep Ghyran with the guard. You know what I mean? They're going to clear out half that board by himself. He's going to control, like, a quarter of that board by himself. You know what I mean?
I remember in the tournament, Ghyran tried to give me strike last, but I was a reclusion. I ignored it.
All right. Let's return to the canon timeline. Last episode, we talked about the beginning of the Dawnbringers Crusade. The moment when the Cities of Sigmar opened their gates and sent out thousands of settlers marching out into the wilds of the mortal realms. We talked about Hammerhall. We talked about the Twin-Tailed Crusade marching into Waaagh and Ghyran. And we talked about the brutal truth behind the Dawnbringers' ideas. These aren't conquest armies, they're migrations. Moving cities made of soldiers, wagons, faith, and stubborn hope. But tonight, we're moving forward in the story itself. Because the Dawnbringers narrative is a narrative told across a series of campaign books, and the first ones are called Harbingers. And the title tells you everything you need to know. Before great events of the mortal realms, something always comes first. A warning, an omen, a harbinger. The first Harbinger book isn't about one massive battle. Instead, it's about the forces gathering around the Crusades as they begin their marches. Because when thousands of people leave the safety of the free cities and begin pushing into monster territory, every predator in the mortal realms notices. Chaos notices, destruction notices, death notices, and even factions within order begin positioning themselves around what's happening. The Crusades aren't just expeditions. They're a signal that order is expanding again, and that signal echoes across the realms. One of the most important figures introduced into this timeline is Pontifex Zenestra. Zenestra is the leader of the Cult of the Wheel, a rapidly growing religious movement within the Cities of Sigmar. She travels inside something called the Crawling Cathedral. A massive moving shrine, a fortress-sized religious monument, carried across the land. Wherever the Crawling Cathedral appears, crowds gather. Priests chant, pilgrims kneel, and Zenestra delivers sermons about the turning of the wheel. Her followers believe that this history moves in cycles. Civilizations rise, civilizations falls, but the faithful endure. And Zenestra teaches that when the Dawnbringers Crusades are part of that sacred cycle, a turning point when suffering will give birth to new cities and a stronger future. But there's something strange about Zenestra. She never removes her mask, her sermons feel prophetic, and the more people look at her, the less certain they become about what she truly is. Some believe that she's a saint, others believe she's something far older, something watching from the Crusades with its own mysterious purpose. So Jesse, I want your take on this. Characters like Zenestra always walk in a weird line in Warhammer. Do you think she's genuinely guiding the Crusades towards like a better future? Or do you think she's manipulating the whole situation for her own agenda?
It's tough because she's like the figurehead of a cult, and so like you obviously look at somebody who leads a cult with a little bit of skepticism, but what she's doing within that cult is for the benefit of the cities and the benefit of humans. So it's easy to see that her piety would be like, oh, she's aligned with order and she's 100% good. And even I like view her as, oh, I feel like she's on the side of good. But you're wearing a mask, bro, and masks conceal people's true face, so...
What if it's Kim Jong-un under there? Nobody has seen Zenestra poop. That's all I'm saying.
Dang. Yeah, that's true.
She doesn't have a butthole. Those two things align.
You know what? That's probably why she has to get carried.
Yeah.
You know, I saw that model when we were playing in the Scorched Earth Open, and it was doing a lot of buffs for the army. It was doing a lot for their, like, Free Guild Cavaliers. it was a really important model, I could tell, within the army. And the model itself looks cool. Like it looks like a bunch of dudes carrying somebody on like a barge.
Yeah, it's like you want to be playing that. Like if you're gonna play her in your army, you want to build around her. You know what I mean? And she buffs a lot of units. I think she has like a 12-inch bubble of. She can do like some cool things. I think she's also a priest as well.
Yeah.
You know.
So you can get some prayers off, and we know that priests in 4th edition have been like at the forefront and have been important in a lot of armies. So yeah, I think she's a cool character, a cool model, and we're gonna see her in cities lists.
What I like about priests is that they're like, there's not a lot you can do. Like it's just on the roll. You know what I mean? There's another word like a lot of responses. Some people have a response, but just not very often.
Yeah, I mean maybe in later editions they'll add a way to like counter, unbind a prayer. But I like that the idea behind a prayer is that, like, if you have faith, even if it doesn't go off now, it's going to go off later.
yeah. I do. Like, it banks up, you know what I mean? Those prayers bank up.
So it does feel like, you're waiting for your prayers to be answered on the tabletop, just like the Dawnbringers are waiting for their prayers to be answered out there.
I'll just give Game Workshop, I'll let them know, dude, you guys did a great job with that theme, thematicness of the game. You know what I mean? Like, the way they just... Like the prayer thing, that's awesome way to represent it. You know what I mean?
I feel like a lot of the things that the models and armies do in the rules translate to the tabletop really well, and it helps you take your imagination to that place.
Agreed, and it works. I think they do. They represent it well in the lore. And on the tabletop, it's just a great comparison.
Yeah, and when you have a lot of thematic things happening and triggers happening in the game, it just makes it so exciting. And I feel like Cities players, bro, they're in a desperate struggle already because everything is so strong, and they're not the most stalwart army. They can be a little squishy, but I just like the idea that they're holding out against all these forces with guns and med.
Yeah, it's like just normal people. Talia Vedra is super awesome. We talked about her a little bit, I believe, on last episode.
Yeah.
And she's it's her and it's Zenestra, you know what I mean? Kind of running them out there and trying to keep them safe and building their crusades. They're trying to survive against everything. One of those things that they're trying to survive is Nurgle. While the cities of Sigmar prepare their crusades, another force is moving across the realms. The servants of Nurgle. And in the realms of Ghyran, the land of life and growth, corruption begins spreading like a disease. Rivers turn foul, forests rot from within, and plague spreads throughout the settlements and wilderness alike. At the center of this spread and decay is one of Nurgle's most infamous champions, Rodigus. Rodigus is a great unclean one, a towering demon of Nurgle whose very presence poisons the land. Where Rodigus walks, the life doesn't just die, it rots. And it makes Ghyran a nightmare destination for the Dawnbringers Crusade. Because the Crusades aren't just marching into enemy territory. They're marching into the realms that are becoming sick. And the conflict of Ghyran becomes symbiotic. Order tries to build new life, while Nurgle tries to corrupt it. Growth versus decay, hope versus inevitability, and the Crusades are caught in the middle.
Rodigus is one of those units that you can spot from across the room.
Yeah.
I mean, he's massive. He's a great unclean one, and yeah, you can just see him. So I can only imagine what, in lore, just these little humans in the Dawnbringers Crusade, what that looks like on the horizon. Just seeing Rodigus' huge, effigy of a person.
Yeah, well, he's a great unclean one, and they're it's like their greater demons. It's like their bloodthirster, right? You know what I mean? This is their chosen of their god.
And I think we're going to see Rodigus in a lot of lists.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think we're going to see Rodigus in the lore a lot.
In this edition, he's really good. I don't know if I said it earlier, but I think he has 2 good war scrolls. You know what I mean? His Scourge of Ghyran war scroll is good, and his regular war scroll that they gave him in the new book is really good. He's in basically everybody's list right now. He has this really cool -1 to save bubble that you can expand. He gives, I think, +1 to casting to other casters around him, I want to say. He's just a really good model.
And he's a big boy.
Yeah, he's super, super cool looking. And in the lore, he is this. He brings this rain that follows him, and wherever he goes, it just corrupts and rots everything.
Oh, it's that chocolate rain.
It's that chocolate rain, and just in the background, you just hear Tazon Day coming for you.
They felt the pain, bro.
Despite the threats gathering around them, the Crusades begin their journey. Columns of wagons stretched across the landscape. Thousands of soldiers and civilians move forward together. Watchtowers are erected, Supply lines are established. Roads are carved through the wilderness. The Dawnbringers move slowly but steadily across the realms. And wherever they go, they change the land. Because the Crusades aren't just armies, they're the foundations of future cities. And every mile towards civilization, or it means they're expanding again. But the enemies of order are already watching, and they're preparing to strike. The second Dawnbringers book shifts the story dramatically. Because while the first book brings focus to the gathering of the storm, the second book unleashes it. This book is called Reign of the Brute. The Brute in question is exactly who you think they are. The Orruks. Because if there's one thing the Orruks love more than fighting, it's fighting something big. And the Dawnbringers Crusade, moving through the wilderness, is the biggest target imaginable. Miles of wagons, thousands of soldiers, endless supplies, and to an Orruk war boss that doesn't look like a migration, that looks like a treat. Across the realms, Orruk warclans begin gathering. Small warbands merge into larger forces, and larger forces begin building up to massive Waaaghs. The Orruks sense opportunity. They sense war, and they want to smash the Dawnbringers Crusade before the new cities can be built. Because Orruks thrive in a chaos, and the new civilizations mean new walls, new rules, new order. Things Orruks absolutely hate. So the Waaagh grows, and eventually it collides with the forces of order. Do you have any experience with any of the?
Oh yeah, you already know I know about Waaagh.
Yeah.
On Monday nights, I used to
Waaagh.
watch Rise.
Yeah.
Waaagh.
Yeah. Rise Waaagh.
It's Waaagh.
But that's like their spirit energy. Have you played anybody with
Iron Jaws yet?
Yeah.
No, I saw a Cruel Boys army on Friday, and they look just super cool, man. Orcs are just always, they're just, green skin is just cool.
Yeah, they look really cool.
Yeah, I know that maybe the Cruel Boys aren't the coolest thing on the tabletop. I feel like the Iron Jaws get the cooler side of the range.
Oh, definitely. I agree. It sucks that they split them for the Cruel Boys because the Iron Jaws are sick.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to divide them, and I get it. They want them to have their separate flavors, but yeah, if I'm picking which Orruk warclan to go with, I'm going with them Iron Jaws, baby.
I'm with you on that.
Give it them pigs.
That's 100%. This is where the Dawnbringer story shifts from a survival to open war. Crusade armies clash with the Orruks' hordes. Settlements are attacked, cities prepare their defenses, and Stormcast Eternals are deployed to protect the vulnerable Crusades. And suddenly, the question changes. The Dawnbringers are no longer asking, can we reach our destination? They're asking, can we survive long enough to build anything at all? Because building in a city is only the first challenge. Defending it is the real test. So Jesse, let me ask you this. If you were the one leading those crusades, what do you think would actually be harder? The journey itself or settling down and having to defend the city for the rest of your life?
Definitely the settling part, that second part there. I mean, it's a slog, and it's a treacherous journey just venturing out, but then to be like, hey guys, we're going to set up right here and we're going to stay here. And who wants to stay?
Yeah.
All we have is the orcs on this side, death encroaching on this side, the beasts everywhere.
Chaos is over here. You got Nurgle over here making all of you guys sick.
At any point in time, the Skaven can erupt from the ground. This is not the best selling point for starting a new HOA.
Yeah. At least, I wonder how it would feel if you're in those settlements and then you're getting wrecked by Orruks and Nurgle, and then all of a sudden you see Stormcast drop in. You're like, thank
God. The emergency parachute just deployed.
Yeah,
because you got to think these guys on the Dawnbringer Crusade, they're moving by foot or cart or whatever.
Yeah,
they're tired, they're exhausted, they're
hungry. Some
hungry.
dude on a cart. Yeah,
and then you see a horde, a few war bands of Orruks just hungry and ready to fight. You're not gonna want to be all right, put everything down, arm yourself. We gotta fight these orcs off.
Yeah.
That's when you bring out those cannons, baby.
Yeah, hit them with that deep strike.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right. So, when you look at the first two Dawnbringer books together, a pattern begins to appear. Order is expanding, but every step forward provokes resistance. Faith movements rise, chaos spreads corruption, destruction gathers armies, and the Crusades are caught in the middle of it all. The Dawnbringers are not marching toward guaranteed victory, they are marching toward uncertainty. Because every new city that they build will become another battlefield, and the mortal realms are not known for letting civilization grow easily. Alright, before we move on, let's zoom out to this, take a second and look at the big picture, because the Dawnbringer story is massive, and it helps lay out the key events laying forward that we've talked about. So here's a timeline of what happened through the first 2 Dawnbringer books. The cities launched their massive expedition. Thousands of soldiers, settlers, priests, engineers marched forward from cities like Hammerhall with one goal: build a new civilization. As the Crusades begin, religious fervor spreads across the cities of Sigmar. Pontifex Zenestra and the Cult of the Wheel rise in prominence. Her sermon claims the Crusades are part of a divine cycle, the turning of fate itself. But Zenestra remains a mystery, a prophet to some, a manipulator to others. And something about her feels not entirely mortal. Nurgle spreads his rot in Ghyran. While order pushes outward, the forces of Nurgle are already corrupting the realms of life. Plagues spread throughout the forest, rivers grow afoul, and life itself begins to rot. At the center of this corruption is Rotigus, a great unclean one spreading decay across Ghyran.
Old Roddy Rich.
Yeah, Roddy Bugatti. That's his rap name.
Yeah, for sure.
The Crusades expand. Despite these dangers, the Dawnbringers keep marching. Roads are carved through the wilderness, watchtowers rise, supply lines stretch across dangerous territories. The Crusades begin laying down the foundation of new settlements, and the first time in years, order is expanding again. The Orruks gather. But expansion draws attention, and across the realms, the Orruk warclan sense of opportunity, small warbands merge into larger forces. These forces grow into a massive Waaagh! To the Orruks, the Dawnbringers Crusades aren't settlers, they're targets. And the reign of the brute begins, and eventually, and inevitably, happens. The Waaagh collides with the forces of order. Crusades armies clash with the Orruks hordes. Cities prepare for war, and Stormcast Eternals descend to reinforce the Crusades.
And is there anything more Chadley than a Stormcast and a Orruk freaking Ironjaw just mud wrestling? You know what I'm saying?
Just that perfect jaw dropping from this guy.
He's like, you want high-level Stormcast. No.
Send the guy ran, forget 3 years.
For 3 years. Send him on Dawnbringer Crusade. 3 years and forget.
Yeah.
Maybe once every 6 months, Stormcast reinforcement.
But building a new city is only the beginning. Defending it is the battle that never ends. And that's what brings the Dawnbringer story to a stand after the first 2 books. The Crusades are moving, civilization is expanding, but the enemies that order are just rising just as fast. Because in the mortal realms, every new city is a challenge, and every mile of progress has to be fought for.
Yeah, the cities, they have to keep pushing forward and keep pushing outward, you know what I mean? Because humans, we can take over a place, but we need to take it over in volume. You know what I'm saying? A pocket of humans isn't very strong. Yeah. Now, a whole network of humans, that's very tough to deal with.
It's like watching ants, you know what I mean? Like, you see like one ant, like, like the orcs, like, that's nothing.
Yeah.
But like 20 ants, that's something.
Yeah, now 20 ants with grape shot.
Yeah, with guns, exactly. Yeah. It's a little different. So, before we wrap up tonight's episode, let's talk about how the Dawnbringer's mindset actually connects to the tabletop. And whether you're here from the building of a city of the mortal realms or building an army for game night, the struggle isn't that different.
We represent Tazon Day. Chocolate Rain is a protected property.
What if that's like our enemy? Fuck you, Tazon Day. Just kidding. So Jesse, one of the things I love about the Dawnbringer story isn't that it's just one of the big battles. It's about momentum. The Crusades are constantly just trying to move forward, build roads, establish settlements, create supply lines, and the entire world is pushing back against them. Chaos attacks, orcs gather, plagues spread, the environmental itself turns hostile. The real challenge becomes a constant tug-of-war between momentum and resistance. And honestly, that feels like it's really familiar if you spent any time in this hobby, because Warhammer works the same way. When it comes to hobby momentum, you have a new army project, it feels like a crusade. You get excited, you're building, you pick your first few units, you plan the list, everything feels like progress, but then resistance shows up. You hit a painting slump, you realize you have 30 dryads, That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, anybody listening right now can tell me I have everything that I own completely painted, based, and battle ready. Then, I'll quit the hobby.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we just naturally, as hobbyists, are acquiring a future product in the current project. You know what I'm saying? I'll be just finishing this Stormcast army, and I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh man, I need to get that one Gorn unit. Oh man, the new OBR just came out. I need more. And I know I shouldn't.
Yeah, no, you just want to keep getting more and more, like, you know what I mean? And then it's like a grind to get it all done. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's got the pile of shame. You know?
Plastic crack, bro. I'm like, you want these cheeseburgers?
I got these cheeseburgers. That's Games Workshop to us.
Yeah, man. Like, we would do anything for that next bit of plastic.
What'd you say to me?
I said, let's move on.
In the same way that things happen on the tabletop, in Age of Sigmar, momentum is everything. One turn you're controlling the board, you're controlling battle tactics, your units are positioned well, and everything is working, and then one mistake happens. A failed charge, a bad screen, a unit out of position, and suddenly the game shifts. And that's exactly what Dawnbringer Stories feels like. A constant fight to maintain momentum while everything tries to slow you down. What do you think your biggest momentum killer is?
You know, right now, I've got so much already built and primed and ready to go in a list, but I need to paint it.
Well, I mean, like, play style, playing. When we're playing the game. Like, I've had some really big shift moments where I thought I was going to lose the game.
Yes.
And then, I killed this, happened, and your whole army fell apart, and there was a big shift there. You know
yes.
What I mean? Sometimes you have to make that happen.
For me with the Stormcast, I feel like those moments, for me, happen when I make a critical save. When something survives when it shouldn't. With the 5-up wards, with the +1s to saves, like with the good armor rolls. I just feel like there's a lot of key moments where, like, you just needed to kill something, and I was able to just 1 HP. Stay alive.
I like when you can get the prosecutors in, and they can blow up something big and stay alive.
Yes, and then make it rally.
That, to me, feels huge for you. Like, it's a momentum shifter. You're like, this game, turn 1, swapped really quickly.
You're
you know
like,
what I mean?
A second prosecutor just hit the tower.
For me, I've had some really big momentum shifters. A lot of times it is like making sure I'm positioning correctly. Like that deployment, we talked about it in Ian's game today. We talk about it with, like, we know that you, like, capitalize on taking advantage of, like, if someone deploys bad, you bomb them with the prosecutors.
Yeah. I fly them right in.
Straight in. Like, and it's wild. Like, the prosecutors do burn hot enough to melt steel beams.
I sent 2 to separate targets, but this one hit.
That one hit. With a +5 ward, +1 to save, +1 to wound.
Yeah, I can't remember.
That's how the passports made it down. they hit the save.
And the ward.
Yeah. Just the passports, though. And the last connection I see between the Dawnbringers and our hobby is the idea.
But what about faction terrain number 7?
Yes.
Why did that one go down?
Straight down in its print. That base size is very particular, and it went straight into the base. 32 mil, huh? Pretty strange. The last connection I see between Dawnbringers and our hobby is the idea of building something that lasts. The Crusades aren't marching just to win battles. They're marching to build cities, something permanent, something future generations can live in, and in a similar way, in a smaller way, we're building a community that feels like that too. You show up, you teach new players, you paint armies, you organize games, and you slowly build something that didn't exist before. It's not glamorous, it's not instant, but over time, it becomes real. What's like your thoughts on, like, our little growing community? And I talked about it a lot. I thought it was cool that we had 3 1,000K games going, like, at one day. Like, that's sick. We did that at 7 o'clock.
I honestly think that now Warhammer Night can go off without our presence, where Where once upon a time it depended solely on our presence, and it consisted solely of our presence.
Yeah.
Now I feel like, if we took a week off, that I still feel like people would show up. I still feel like Warhammer would self-representation, and that is something I can be proud of. To know that we left an impact and we started something. Age of Sigmar is a hard sell, you know what I mean, on somebody who is uninitiated.
Exactly.
You sold me. And I made it easier than most. Zach made it easier than most.
Yeah.
Eric made it easier than most. My girlfriend made it easier than most. But it's still a hard sell. We're like, you just got to spend $600.
You just spend this.
Start with this $130 product. It's one box and you're done. That is the biggest lie we tell everyone.
The funny part is then they open the box and they see it's sprues and they're like, what is this?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you got to build it and paint it too.
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love it when people go from zero to skilled in every aspect. Skilled in building, skilled in painting, skilled in basing. And I'm like, wow, you didn't know anything about this hobby. I was literally explaining to you the difference between the old world and Age of Sigmar. And now you've got a fully built, painted, based army, 2,000 points. I'm proud of our community, bro. I wouldn't trade them for anybody.
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been awesome to see this little foundation grow up. You know what I mean? So it's nice. It's been a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun to do. So I appreciate having you help me push all this forward.
We envisioned this. We talked about this. We talked about this podcast before it was a thing. We talked about going to a tournament before that was a thing. We talked about just getting one other person to play with so we didn't have to just keep ad nauseum fighting each other in this game, because it's become Ryu versus Ken.
Yeah.
All right, it's become freaking Jin versus Kazuya.
We talked about it earlier. It's Goku and Vegeta.
Pushing
forward.
Yes, it's like we get it. You're both strong. You both got a powerful army.
Yeah. It's let's play a different game.
Yeah, for certain. But we've had a Dawnbringing, bro. We went from 2 men to 4 to 6 to 7 to 8. It's felt great, bro. And then we've made alliances. Just like the Dawnbringers have to. They can't do it themselves. They need to have alliances with the Stormcast. With the Daughters of Cain, with even some of the Destruction Forces. Some of them are mercenaries. Might be able to get some ogres to help us out.
Well, it's you can't survive it by yourself, right?
You can't.
It's just too hard. And this still have to work with them, everybody.
And as much as this hobby is independent work, bro, it is nothing without the community, bro. Being at Gamer Guild with the House of Hobbies guys on Friday, being with our Reckless crew at J&J on Tuesdays, bro. I look forward to that all week, bro. While I'm painting at home by myself, listening to my podcast that I messed up by not hitting record today.
Yeah. Yeah, you're telling me, man. It's pretty rough. But it is something, I do look forward to that every week. So I'm super happy that we built this, and it looks like it's going to keep growing. Warhammer and Sigmar, it looks like it's going to keep growing. As long as, they've done a really good job with Spearhead, so it makes this job so easy to push it. You know what I mean? Hey, just play Spearhead. And then you sneak them in, you know what I mean?
We've been looking at our metrics and seeing that we're getting more listeners and people are tuning in and subscribing. And, we really do appreciate that, because just as much as these people that we see on the weekly in person here in Arizona, we're connected to all of you out there across the airwaves, because this hobby, we're truly all in this together. And I love meeting people in this hobby. They're just from every walk of life. But there's just a dedication. This hobby takes dedication, bro.
Yeah, like you said, only building is only the first part of it. That's fun. But it takes another person to play the game. And it's not once you can get it to multiple people you're playing with, that's so much fun.
I was would Lego be as successful if every brick was gray and you had to paint it at the end?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. People love Lego too.
They love Lego, bro. But imagine they're we're introducing a new gray set.
It's all gray.
But we give you some paint.
Yeah,
that's in a pot that doesn't seal.
We'll sell it to you. It's called Warhammer paint, yeah, and it doesn't seal. It does not seal, and it makes it. They make it hard for you to no dropper. You know what I mean? So putting it into a different container is just a pain.
I like when people try to say here's how to fix the pot, and then the first comment is always why don't you just make a better pot?
Yeah.
You're freaking rich.
Yeah, just do this correctly. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Right.
But bitching about paint pots will be a different episode.
Yeah, exactly. I'm excited. We got a lot of new content coming up. But looking forward, let's wrap this up, take a quick look at where the Dawnbringer story goes from here. Because the first 2 books set the stage, and the Crusades begin marching. Faith, movement rise inside the cities of Sigmar. Nurgle spreads corruption through Ghyran. The Orruk Waaagh begins gathering strength. But this is really just the beginning. Because as the Dawnbringer story continues, the conflict gets bigger and the politics inside Order get a lot more complicated. New characters start appearing, new factions get pulled into the Crusade, and some of the most interesting stories in the setting begin to develop. One of the biggest is the Long Hunt, where the forces of Order begin tracking down powerful enemies in the realms. And the other is another story involving Daughters of Cain, where internal conflict begin reshaping the factions in pretty dramatic ways. So the Dawnbringers narrative starts branching out. It's no longer just about settlers marching across the realms. It becomes a story about alliances, rivalries, and the future direction of Order itself. Jesse, I want to ask you this before we close out this long discussion. Do you think Dawnbringers Crusade actually succeeded in the long run? Or do you think the mortal realms are just too dangerous for civilization to really expand?
It's to be determined. I would not call it an absolute failure yet, because they've gained ground and they're still there. I'm still here. I'm still strong. But there's a lot coming up, and you mentioned Daughters of Cain, and Dawnbringers introduced Crethusa the Crone Seer, who's kind of like a stark kind of opposition to Morathi, and I'm interested to hear and see more on that. I think that we're going to see more exciting triumphs out of the Dawnbringers. I think we're going to see more triumphant victories, but it's going to take some time. It's going to be a grind towards that, and they're going to be, I'm sure, facing more threats than just some Orruks.
Oh, definitely. I'm excited. That new one you said, Crethusa is introduced. Belthanos is introduced. Obviously, yes. A Sylvaneth player. Very exciting, game-changing. Mm-hmm. It was really cool. So, in this, when they released each of these books, they released a model with each book. Like the Harbingers, they released the Harbinger of Plagues for Nurgle. Mm-hmm. And then
they had those Dawnbringers box sets.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember they had the one with Crethusa and the Doomfire Warlocks, and she leads those shadow elves that are different from the witch elves.
Yeah. And then the Long Hunt, they released Belthanos, and that was just such an awesome box.
I remember when you first got Belthanos table ready, and I had to take him off the table with Iridan, but he is an amazing model. He's an amazing unit. I already told you if I had a Sylvaneth army, I would start with him and a bunch of Kurnoth, and that would be the heart and soul of the list.
It's the funnest game.
Yeah.
This new list that's coming, I'm excited. It's the Kurnoth with the size. It's gonna be dope.
Yeah, if I hadn't been killed by every variation of Sylvaneth list by now, I would be scared. But I feel you've been slapped by a million trees once, you'll do it again. But I'm actually scared about you having Dryads and Revenants. These are units that you poo-pooed on, that you absolutely wouldn't budge on, and now you're they're in the list, baby.
I used the Revenants before. The Dryads, I didn't like. There's been several times I put Dryads in front of you, and then you just smacked them in one hit. Yeah. I was like, oh, well, that was a waste of 90 points.
I feel like I used to do that with the bow guys, too, but you know how to play them a lot smarter now.
Yeah. I think I can do the same with the Dryads now. I've used them that last time. They worked out really well.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what you do with those lists. But, man, Dawnbringers, man, what an exciting series. What an exciting, chain of books. I feel like if you were just getting into Age of Sigmar, and I know there's a rich lore before it, but let's just say you're a Cities player. And you're oh, I want to learn more about the lore. Starting right in these Dawnbringer books, man, they could get you hooked right into the army and the lore, make you fall in love with Talia.
Agreed. There's a lot of great characters, Pontifex Zenestra, all of the characters that we already spoke about.
For sure.
It's been really good. So I'm excited for these next 2 episodes, but I think that's going to be a great place to leave the story for now. So let's wrap up this episode the right way. All right, that's going to bring us to an end today's episode of Rolling Recklessly. Jesse, brother, thank you again for jumping on this one. I always love doing episodes, especially the lore episodes, but having you here to talk it through with me and react makes this story way more fun. It keeps feeling like a real table talk instead of me just reading a history book. So it's really nice always having you on.
Yeah, I love being here. I love the discussion. This is something I look forward to every week, doing our podcast and just talking more lore, talking more tabletop, talking more community, bro. This is always exciting. This is always a blast.
I really appreciate having you on, man. So we're definitely not done with the story yet. Next time we'll return to Dawnbringers narrative. We'll keep continuing moving forward through the books and see how the Crusades evolve, because new factions get involved and the conflict grows larger, and the stakes of the City of Sigmar only get higher. So if you've been enjoying the Dawnbringers arc, there's a lot more coming. Before we wrap things up, I just want to toss the mic over to you for a second. Any shout-outs you want to give? Friends at the store, hobby progress, anyone who's been rolling dice with us lately?
I do. I want to shout out Old World Games in Scottsdale, Arizona. Their names slip me right now, but they just helped me recently with my OBR units, and that's a great store and great guys in there running that store, and it's a nice, clean, and welcoming environment. I want to shout out Gamer Guild North Phoenix. They host the House of Hobbies guys. I want to shout those guys out too. Johnny, Zach, Jed, Colin, all those guys, everyone that I've been meeting out there who likes to come out there and play, like, shout outs to all of you guys. Shout outs to Zach, our teammate. That's our boy, Slaves of Darkness, brutal. He's working on some Myrmidons right now, and I'm scared, terrified, quaking in my boots.
Myrmidons, Therodons.
Yep. Shout out to Ian. Shout out to Eric, Becca, and Allie. Just our whole community, dude. And then a special shout out to your mom for the Reckless Room, bro.
I know it's very sick. I appreciate that she did that. That was awesome of her. Big shouts out to her. Shout out, Mom. Also, I think that's great. I think all those. I like all those. One more shout. I want to shout out the guy on eBay. I don't know your store, but you sold me dice for $10.99. That's awesome, bro.
Oh yeah, I'm jealous. Give me them.
Let me know. Send it. I'll send you the link. It's Warhammer dice for like $10.99. It's 20 of them.
That is just amazing. I just need a reason to spend $60 on dice.
Yeah, I was like, I'll shout this guy out every time. Before we close the gates for the night, I also want to give a shout out to some of the awesome people in the community that keep the hobby fun, and shout out everyone showing up week after week, building armies and learning the game, helping grow the army, grow the Age of Sigmar scene, especially over there at J&J. Whether you're painting late at night, rolling dice with your friends, or just getting started with your first army, you're part of what makes this hobby great. And if you're part of the Rolling Recklessly community, whether you're rolling through the podcast, Instagram, YouTube, Discord, we appreciate you being here.
You know what? Shout out to J&J Gaming Factory, bro. They got my pre-order for OBR, got my book, got my spearhead, and got 2 boxes of triaxes, and they're just so professional and so like friendly. I just love getting my product from J&J, bro.
Yeah, no, they're on top of it. They take good care of it. Big shout out to my girlfriend Casey she's that Warhammer person there. She always gets us.
Age of Sigmar ambassador, and she does her job well.
She does. She crushes it. So shout out to her. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you follow and stay connected with the show. Instagram at rolling_recklessly_podcast, and then on YouTube, Rolling Recklessly. And if you want to jump into the conversation and talk Warhammer with us, you can join the Discord, where we share hobby progress, army lists, and all kinds of Mortal Realms picks. So until next time, may your crits be high, your paint never dry, and your rolls ever reckless.
Wow.